Alrighty, ma'am. Good to go.
Sweet. All right. So we were talking about when you went on a mission to take out some members of the Taliban. Um, so like like tell me a little bit about the mission and how you felt during and after.
Well, is this the mission that I got injured at, or the mission where we went out with the express intent of bringing guys home in bags?
Why not?
Gee, let's see. Mission where I got hurt. We had initially planned out on going into a village that we knew to be hostile. No coalition forces had been there for a significant amount of time, and we knew that they were hostile based on our intelligence and just the fact that we hadn't been there, and that some of the guys had said, "Hey," or not necessarily agents, but our human sources had indicated that there were high levels of Taliban activities. A lot of financiers and sheikhs and leaders were hiding out in this village, and that there was a whole lot of weapons caches. Well, we had intended to go in there, but because of some timing conflicts with some of our allied forces, we were unable to leave when we wanted to leave, and we had to push everything around and shift. So what we ended up doing was going to the next nearby village and conducting what we called a leader engagement, where we sat and we met with, or our leadership met with the tribal elders for that village for about an hour and a half. Once we had one sniper team split up and go to the one side of the village, and my sniper team went up and went to the other side. We covered down into the valley where the meeting was being held, and we just started scanning for targets, looking for suspicious activity, looking for target indicators, guys with weapon systems, guys with any obvious rockets or hostile kind of shows of force, and nothing significant happened. We took ranging. We ranged our targets, or ranged the village, a lot of different places in the village, so we would know, hey, if we have to engage at this point, then this guy's this far away, so we can have quick references in the event that something did go down. Since we knew that the general area was hostile. Since nothing happened, after when the meeting concluded, we moved back to our vehicles, crossed over this big open rice paddy that we were for sure we were going to take mortar fire in. That was a little hairy, but it was just so damn big. But we crossed the rice paddy. We started consolidating all our gear at the vehicles, or to take back down to the vehicles, consolidating our gear at our kind of battle rally points. And around that time is when everybody heard a boom. We looked up, and across the river from us, we saw a puff of smoke. Well, normally when you hear a boom, it's about like that. It sounded like a mortar. Everybody expected to have a few seconds to kind of get to cover. And the next thing I knew, I had an RPG whizzing over my head so close enough I could feel the heat on the back of my neck. That happened twice before I decided to unass the mountain, and that's when I, injured my ankle. One of the other missions.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask. Is that one of the instances where you said that like you wish you would have thought quicker, that you wish you would have gone the first time?
I think that if I had to make that decision again, I probably would have taken a little bit more time to assess exactly where the fire was coming from and what my options were. I probably could have found better, not necessarily better cover or more cover, but I probably could have found a better alternative than jumping off the mountain and being where I am today. But hindsight's 2020, so you never really know. I would have rather stayed in the fight and continued to shoot bad guys than end up getting hurt and taken out for as long as I did.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and I'm sorry that happened, but it's not that bad considering it could have been worse,
Oh,
right?
certainly.
But like, talk about shooting bad guys. Like, how does that feel? Like I'm a civilian. Like, hopefully will never be in a situation where I would have to do that. Can you tell me about that? I'm really curious.
Well, it's as far as shooting bad guys goes, it's kind of like there's an old saying that a reporter once asked a Marine Corps sniper, "What do you feel when you shoot a Taliban?" And he just said, recoil. And that's about right. That's about how it goes. You don't really have time to think about it when it's happening. You shoot what you have to shoot when you have to shoot it, and then maybe you think about it later. Everybody deals with it differently. I've known some guys who've been pretty torn up about it, and I've known other guys who just turn it off like it's a video game. It doesn't seem to bother me any. I don't really have any qualms about shooting guys who are shooting at me. So it's either you or them.
Oh yeah, I understand that, and I would too. How do you deal with it?
I don't personally have any issues with shooting bad guys. Like I said, it's either them or me, and it's not going to be me.
Yeah, nor should you. So tell me, right? What is the situation? I wanted to get it on camera that you explained to me that you're going to be out in 2 weeks, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. I'm waiting right now. I'm waiting on my orders to release me from Walter Reed, and as soon as I get those orders, they should be here within 2 days from now. Once I get those orders, I have 10 days to out process. So between now and approximately 14 days from now, I should be completely out of the military.
What date is that?
That would be the 28th. So by 1 May, I should be completely out of the military at the latest.
Very good. And what are your plans after?
Well, right now I'm looking at some government agencies, other government organizations I'm trying to get involved with due to my clearance and experience. So, hoping to get in and get my foot in the door, either be a federal agent or working in some other capacity. I'd rather that last part not kind of go on camera, though.
I understand. Can you take off your shirt, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
Alrighty.
Okay, cool. So, how many times have you been deployed?
I've been deployed twice.
Where?
I've been deployed once to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. I was deployed to Iraq in 2008 and to Afghanistan. I was deployed to Iraq in 2008 and to Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010.
Which one was the worst one?
Definitely Afghanistan. Iraq was pretty tame compared to Afghanistan.
I've heard it's pretty gnarly out there.
Yes, ma'am. It's Afghanistan is pretty hairy, but it's kind of the fun part. But it's also different, I guess. It keeps you busy for sure.
And in terms of why you're leaving, like, is it because you want to pursue other things, because you're done with it, or what are your reasons for?
Oh, for getting out of the military?
Mm-hmm.
Part of my reason for getting out of the military is so that I can pursue other options. Right now, the main factor is, even if I wanted to stay in, I couldn't because of the nature of being called up. When you get called back from the reserves or inactive reserve, when you get called into the military, you can't really do. You're only classified as a reservist, so you can't really do a combat job, which is the situation I find myself in now. As if I were to get out of the military, I can come back in and have virtually any job that I can convince the contracting guys at the recruiting office to give me. But in addition to that, I have my medical issues, my ankle issues. I think I can strengthen it and get back into even better shape over the next several months, and that'll allow me to come back in the military if I so choose in better shape than I am now. And there's only so much I can do here at Walter Reed, but the stronger I can become and the more rehab I can do on my own, then the better.
How do you think that this injury can hurt you in this competition?
I think my injury can hurt me. I think in this competition, the biggest risk I face with my injury is the combatives. If combatives might put me at a significant disadvantage of having to exacerbate the injuries already done to my ligaments in my ankle. Aside from that, I don't think, as long as we're not jumping out of airplanes, I don't think there's going to be any other limitations.
And how do you think you're going to stack up? How do you think you're going to do? Do you think you're going to come home with a prize, or do you think you're going to be the first one, or in the middle,
Damn sure we'll be the
what do
first
you
one
think?
to go home. That's for sure. Uh, I'm not a quitter, so unless you guys tell me to get out of here, then that's the way it's gonna go. I'm gonna stick in there and fight and see where it goes. I can't say that I'm gonna win, but I know I'm not gonna be the first one to walk home.
That's good. Will you tell me a joke?
Oh, a joke. Let's see.
Yes.
Off the cuff. I gotta think about this one.
Or something funny. I just want to hear you laugh and add some humor to this.
Okay. You know what? Last night I didn't have any issues with this. I had a beer with one of the girls, and I didn't have any issues telling jokes. It was just, oh, hey, whatever. But let's see. Now you put me on the spot. I come up with something crazy.
Well, I'm a girl. I'm not that old, and
Oh, not that
I'm
old.
not.
You can't. Of course, you're not that old. You're working for a television company, so they don't hire ugly old women. You know better than that. Oh, let's see. Well, if I tell a joke, I'm not gonna laugh anyway. It's supposed to be you
Well,
laughing.
I don't know. Maybe something funny. Like,
Well, shouldn't
did
you
have,
tell me
like,
a joke?
really bad date?
What's that?
Did you have a really bad date recently?
No, not recent. You know what I used to do on a really bad date? I was in a volunteer fire department one time, and we had these pagers that if you turn them off and turn them back on, they would repeat the last vocal page that went out over the net. So it would be an intercom type page, and so you could always kind of subtly turn off the pager, turn it back on, and it would beep beep beep. All so and so firefighters respond to this incident, and I would use that to get out of the date. And I always thought it was kind of I don't know if that made me a horrible person or not, but it worked. So
How many dates did you get out of?
I got out of probably only about 3 or 4 dates that way.
Are you looking to get married and settled anytime soon, or are you enjoying being single?
I'm definitely enjoying being single. I just got out of a fairly long relationship, so it's nice to kind of take a break and be a single guy for a while.
What happened in your relationship?
Well, I decided that I was going to move up here and try to find work, and my girlfriend at the time didn't really appreciate the fact that I was putting myself first, and made it very clear that she didn't appreciate it in some ways that I didn't appreciate. So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna. There's some things that we've been through a lot together, but there's some things that I want to put up with, and that's not one of them. So.
What did she do that pissed you off so much?
Well, she kind of talked about some of my family life, or not necessarily problems within my family, but things that have skeletons, I guess you'd say, that have kind of made me who I am, and that maybe I'm not as secure about as I'd like to be, or as comfortable with, and put those in a really negative light, and I didn't appreciate the way that it was used in a vindictive way. It wasn't used in a very helpful way. It wasn't constructive criticism, and I wasn't going to be talked to that way or treated that way. So I ended the relationship.
Wow, how's she dealing with it?
How's she doing with it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she won't talk to me. So.
I'm sure she's pretty heartbroken, but I see where you're coming from completely. What do you think that why do you think you're the way you are?
Well, I think everybody's a product of their upbringing, and I came from a divorced family, and I didn't really get to see a whole lot of healthy relationships when I was growing up. So I think that had a great deal to do with how I frame my relationships now. But I know that, I recognize that, and for me working on that is one thing. To know that and work on it is one thing. For somebody else to kind of poke and prod at me in a criticizing way, it's completely different, and I didn't care for that.
I completely understand. I am from a divorced family as well, so I can relate a little bit. All right. Well, I think we covered it all. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't believe so, man.
All right. Say your name, age, hometown, and occupation, and don't